Hello everybody, so here we are, operation done, operation baldness complete and successful apparently. I've came back to my hotel last night at what was probably 5:30, so they'd been working on me almost immediately. When I got to the hospital, they worked on me from, I suppose that would be 1 o'clock or just before, at 1 o'clock. They immediately drew a new hairline on my head, confirmed it with me that I was happy with that. That was their best recommendation and what to do. And then they took me and shaved my head off, as you can see, and then they washed my scalp, took me in, hopped me on a bed, and immediately the doctor, Dr. Tayfun, started puncturing, giving me anaesthetic. That went in first, which wasn't as painful as I expected, but of course less than comfortable. It was more painful on the back than it was on the front. I really felt it on the back, but apparently you have a lot more blood supply at the back than you have at the front, so that was the situation with that. On the bed we went, and he started puncturing holes, which is where the new hairs would go. And that took probably a good hour to an hour and 15 perhaps. There was no time reference, so I have to try and work everything out from how I felt when I got in till the time we left. So from there, that was procedure one, making the implanted holes for the hairs to go into later on. They then turned me over, administered anaesthetic into the back. That's when the only real painful bit was that. And I say real painful, it was just like a sharp sting, somebody scraping a needle, a pin down your scalp, you know, around your scalp and all over it. But the more it did it, the less the pain was there as it administered and numbed pretty much immediately within a few seconds. So having done that, I'm sorry if you've got noise, that they're doing maintenance in the room next door, and I'm soon going to be changing rooms for the last night. Having taken the hairs out, which was a painless procedure, I felt nothing. They then took the hairs away to count them. Now, some hair follicles have one hair, some have two, some have three, or multiples. And I'm pleased to say that most of my donor area had hairs that were twos and threes. What that means is that thick hair. So what they've implanted at the front, they've taken 3,800 hairs and distributed the single hairs across the front to create the illusion of a natural hairline, and then they've taken the rest and worked their way back with the twos and the threes. So basically that's it. So the job was completed after I left the hotel at 5:30, so I reckon it must have been about 4 to 4.5 hours perhaps in total. I had a bandage on last night, a thick bandage, and I've just been today for what they call the scalp treatment, a scalp wash. They wash your head and the donor area. Now, people are asking me, is it sore? Well, there was a little bit of pain now and then when they were operating, but they administered more anaesthetic if that happened. And it wasn't excruciating, it was just ooh, I felt that. And they administered it, and then there was no more feeling there. So today we went back for the scalp wash. They took away the bandage. Apparently it's looking fine. And actually I'm looking at it and it looks better than some videos that I saw on the internet before I went from the same place. It looks, certainly at the back, you can't see the back at the moment because they've applied, just trying to grip my phone, they've applied a bandage. Now these two oh, it's two bandages. I thought there was only one. Oh, look at that. Well, I didn't realise that. There you go. So you can see a little bit of donor area, a little bit lower down here. This is the first I've seen of it as well. That's where they took hair, but mostly in these two regions around here. And then they implanted it down the top. You see the top there? It's gone in. and then back at the front, which you can probably see if I do that a little bit better. So that's it, job done. Now comes the painstaking, in stages of 4, 7, 14 and 1 month of maintenance. So you have to, there's a spray that I've been given to use. You spray that on every 2 hours until the bottles run out, and you have to keep that cold. So it's in the minibar. So luckily I cleared some of the minibar out before I had the operation, otherwise there might have been no room. So thank God I ate and drank those things. So that's it. So that goes sprayed on. There's tablets. I only needed painkillers last night. I probably won't need them again. I don't think I will. People are asking me and said, "Oh, it looks sore." Well, it does look sore, and it's not comfortable. But what I would describe it as is more like a burn. It's more like you've burned. So if you've ever had a burn and it's sensitive to touch, it's that same kind of pain. Not like somebody's been inside, which they have, but it doesn't feel like that. So that's basically it. It's now medicine, sprays. Can't wash my hair at all for the next 2 days. Then you start applying this lotion very gently to the fronts and the back, and you do that for a number of days, and then gradually, and you've got this other stuff you put on and leave on beforehand. On day 5 you start applying this lotion for 30 minutes before, then you build it up 5 minutes every single day until on the final time at day 14 or something like that, you should be leaving it on for 2 hours before you shower it off, and then apply your shampoo lotion in the way that they've said. So ultimately this is it. So job's done. I fly home tomorrow. The band is holding the bandages on. The band has to stay on for 4 hours every day. This is to stop swelling, reduce swelling coming down into the face and around the eyes, which it will do anyway, but it helps to lessen the impact. And the bandages can come off later on. When I've done this for 4 hours, the bandages can come away. And they showed me with the back of my head, and it actually didn't look as bad as I expected. I mean, it looks red, it looks sore, but it doesn't look as bad as other videos that I've seen. So this is it. So now the process we'll see some growth in 3 months, but it won't look brilliant. It'll look like patchy baby hair probably, or as they call it, the ugly duckling stage. And then it will gradually get better. So the next stage is at 6 months, it will start to look much better. At 9 months, better again. And at 12 months, I'll probably be gazing into the mirror daily and saying, wow. There is a tablet to reduce further hair loss. It's not about helping the hair that they've just put in. The hair they've just put in is most likely going to stay there my whole life, the implanted hair, because it came from an area where men don't usually lose their hair, which is the backs and sides. However, the hair that is naturally mine on the top is still at risk of receding and going. So what they do is they give you a tablet, and you cut the tablet. There's 28 days supply, but you cut the tablet into 4, and you just have 1/4 of the tablet on a daily basis. So you really get 3 or 4 months out of a single box, and you can buy it at the chemist across the road here. So I'm going to get a few boxes of that to bring home and take that. And once it's run out, then I'll have to speak with my GP and look at getting it over here. But if I can get the first, say 3 or 4, maybe even 6 months covered, then that saves a lot of faffing around, you know. So this is it. There it is. The next video I do, if I do one at all, I might not bother now, is going to be this will be removed, and the scabbing will gradually be coming away. I'll wait till any swelling's gone down. I can see that there is a little swelling across the top, which will go down within 5 days or so. So yeah, there you have it. It looks all right, you know. I have to say that my hairline, my natural hairline, actually probably ran more in line with the top of this band, in fairness. That's where my old natural hairline used to be, but he advised on where it was best to put it. You know, it was his call, really, how to do it best. And this is, I think, probably the right way, because you don't want to use all your donor hair, because if you did want to have this patched up or at a later date. You don't want to have spent your entire donor area. In total, I've had 3,800 hairs moved. So that's nearly 4,000 hairs, isn't it? So you don't want to go using them all up. You might need, if you on one area, you want to do it in such a way that you leave a reserve amount in case you need to do more, because you've got more than enough to do another, probably the same again, probably another few thousand, without there being any sign that it was ever done once it heals. So yeah, but I think as long as it looks healthy, I can live with it. I couldn't care less. It's about having a healthy hairline and not looking 70 before when you're only in your 30s, you know. So I think this will be fine. I'll be fine. Once it grows through as well, it'll hang lower, and you'll style it in such a way. So it's going to be nice to style the front of my head again. I've not probably been able to do that properly for about 10 years, and over that 10 years, the ability to do that has gradually waned away. So yeah, I think I'm going to be happy, but we'll see. The truth will be in the pudding, as they say. So adios, amigos. I shall be flying home tomorrow. If I do another video, then I do another video. You don't have to watch it. No one's forcing you to. But if I would say that if anybody has this operation, you know, I'm an exceptionally nervous person. My nerves and my stress levels are chronic compared to what most people, you know, when I hear people say, oh, don't worry about it, I often wonder, well, how do you do that? Because I worry about everything. So if I can do this, then anybody can do this, in fairness. And it wasn't comfortable, but it weren't agonizing. It weren't painful in such a manner that it was excruciating. There was just something like going to the dentist. There's an uncomfortable period, or you're hurting somewhere and the doctor has to poke it and you don't want him to. Very similar to that. I hurt my neck 3 years ago. I wrenched my neck, a muscle inside of my neck, and that was excruciating pain for a day. And I can assure you that this was not as bad as that. So, and it's not as bad as toothache. So, and even when I got back, the pain really wasn't there. Even as the anaesthetic was wearing off, it felt like a throbbing headache, like a heavy headache, throbbing in the front or and above. But when I took a painkiller that they gave me, and this morning when I woke up, no sign of it at all. It just feels a bit tight on the top. It feels like I'm wearing a hat up here on the top. It feels like there's a helmet, like a bike helmet or something daft like that, and you know that you can't quite touch it, which I think is probably still some anaesthetic having an effect, and swelling perhaps. But as the next 5 days go on, that'll solve that. So there you go. So the end result will be a year from now. That's when I will really be able to show you, or any of you who know me or see me, or perhaps follow my gigs and come along as members of the audience, will see in 12 months' time the full result. So venues, if you're interested, make sure you book up for this time next year. You know, you can all come and see Cousin It. Was it It in the Addams Family, the hairy one? I think it was. Thing was the hand and It was the hairy thing. So there you go. Anyway, over and out. Have a lovely day, folks.